Zelensky, and it's this incredible story. Well, as soon as I do that, then there's another one. And there are people who don't understand what NATO is and the EU, and they think, well, all these things are good, aren't they? Not necessarily. So that's where I've been, my friend. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I've been fascinated by it. I've been watching a lot of different commentators on it, but one of the theories is that he didn't do the mineral deal because Keir Starmer, he's already sold them to Keir Starmer.
Well,
that's why Keir Starmer is benevolently offering to put UK troops in the blood sacrifice out of the kindness of his heart for the people of Ukraine. He doesn't have the minerals in his mind at all, Lionel. He's an absolute saint,
right.
This Keir Starmer guy.
Right. He has no interest whatsoever. It is not a number. Well, then there's another one. Let's make it even more interesting. Some great people, like the great Colonel Douglas McGregor, said, they don't have any rare earth metal. What are you talking about? These minerals are, it's nothing. It's dead. And then Putin says, if you want minerals, we got them. Wait a minute. What? That the minerals have nothing to do with this. Let me go back in time. Who is your audience? Sean, who is your audience? Exactly.
They are freedom lovers, people like conspiracies, people like true crime.
Yeah. You know what I want? I want people who are clapping. And I want to get their attention. People who clap. People say, yes. Now, whoever they are, that's my audience. Because the truth, don't give me this nonsense about the truth. What truth? My truth? I don't know what that means. I want people to go like this. Yay! If I open up a restaurant, I want people to come in. I don't want the health conscious. No, I want people to come in and buy my stuff. Okay. So the next rule is don't get too deep with people. Give them something that's interesting. Give them something like, here's what you probably don't know. Pay attention to this. Quick story. In New York years ago, we happened to be coming out of a pub, interestingly enough, and there were these people that were across the street taking pictures of buildings. And I said, foreigners, tourists, they just love to take pictures of buildings. At the same time, so help me God, a guy dressed as Jesus, with the gown and the beard, and with a cardboard cross and a bucket or a pail, he's walking, and these people are looking at the building. I walked across the street and said, excuse me, you're from out of your town, aren't you? I said, yes. I said, I appreciate that. Here's what you should be taking a picture of. And they're looking and go, oh, shit. And there's Jesus. That's what I do. You're looking at all this stuff. And I'm saying, no, look at this. This is the good one. This is what you should be paying attention to. This is it. I know what gets people's attention is not necessarily the most brilliant, the most important. It's not it's not necessarily what you think. It is the things that gets people's attention. Years ago, there was a fellow, we had Lyndon Johnson was our president, and he held his dogs up by their ears. They went crazy. There were beagles. He goes, oh, this is going to go, you don't pick up. And meanwhile, Vietnam, Americans being slaughtered. I don't care about that. But they held up. All right. So that's kind of what I want to do. Here's what happened. Like professional wrestling, it was a classic beatdown. This idiot, many people say he's coked up, tooted up. I don't know. But I've heard it. You've heard it many times. Colonel McGregor says he's probably blowing. Jesus. Could be. And there's one thing about drugs. What it does is it makes you feel like nobody knows I'm using it. It's a wonderful thing. Drugs and alcohol always create this perception that I'm brilliant and nobody knows I'm drunk. It's interesting. Okay. So he shows up.
Remember, Lionel, do you remember the scene in Die Hard where they had Klaus, the supervillain, And the guy was coked up and he was going to negotiate with him.
Yeah. Yeah, right. There's something about it. It doesn't. Hemingway said, write drunk, edit sober. So anyway, so here's this guy. He shows up and he's on top of the world. This guy is a nobody. He's a jadrul from Ukraine who played an organ with his organ, and he's a joke. And he's socked away. He has billions. So he goes there and he says, okay, I'm going to do my thing. Trump is a savant. Trump does stuff that's so brilliant. He'll say, watch this. I'm going to pull I can do stuff. If you and I did it, nobody would even pay attention. Trump does it. So he sits down, and I know for a fact he had J.D. Vance. Now, J.D. Vance is a hillbilly from the woods who ate varmints and possums and shot things. This guy had a rough life. So he may have gone to Yale and all this Ivy League stuff, but he's basically a redneck and a hillbilly from the mountains. This guy's as hardcore, and that comes up. You see, it's funny, Sean, sometimes maybe if you and somebody, sometimes if we argue with spouses, our real side comes in. Like my beloved wife, whenever she raises her voice, when she goes Jersey on you, be careful. It's like, this is not good. So Trump does that sometimes in JD. So they said, okay, JD, you ready? I'm ready. Now, Marco Rubio, who was the Secretary of State, he just looked like he doesn't know where the hell he was. He got 100% of the vote. He doesn't know where he is. Bless his heart. As we say this out, bless his heart. So anyway, so here he comes in like this and he sits down and he overcompensates for the fact that he's a dwarf, which, I mean, this is okay, but he tough guy. To me, you think I think in my country. Yeah. Meanwhile, 6 years ago, it was ding, 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 ding. He's playing with his schwanz. He's playing chopsticks or having a gila on. All right. But now he's Drago from Rocky. I will destroy you. All he's going to do is take his shoe off and start batting. Come on. So Trump's looking at him. Trump says, you think you're good? Okay, kid. You're in my house. And all of a sudden, like something happened. It's like me telling you, now watch over here. They said, let me tell you something. You're going to get into World War III. And this is why the theories about him being, tooted up make some sense. Instead of him saying, whoa, 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 whoa. No, Mr. President. No, excuse me. You misunderstood. I'm in your home, sir. No, I am beholden to you. Anybody else who realized this is my gravy train? Oh, no, not him. No, JD. When he called the vice president JD, listen, Zal. He goes, JD, do you come to Ukraine? Do you come? And I wish he would have leaned over and said, and what about Gonzalo Lira, an American citizen that you tortured and you killed, you son of a bitch, hijo de gran puta, and throw something at him, mix the languages up. It was beautiful. And then they started. And instead of this, there was nobody in Zell's entourage just say, shut the fuck up, shut up. He just kept going. And they're double tipping. And you didn't even say thank you. I said thank you. No, you didn't. Okay, I didn't know this. This one. And he said, this is World War III. You don't have the cars. I'm not playing cards. It's a goddamn expression. I mean, it was beautiful. I keep watching this over and over and over. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Now, did you happen to see the left and their version of this, their response, their take that it was rude and the president was obstreperous and he was, he was, I don't know what the word is. He was acting untoward. And I'm thinking, boy, they missed that one completely. Absolutely, completely. They missed it. They didn't see it the way we saw it. You see, they don't get what Elon does. I love this guy. Where did Elon come from? Who's this? What if before the election somebody says, I got something you don't know? What? Oh, what do you mean? Well, we'll see. And you know how time warp, time distortion, the twins paradox, in let me see, 11, what is it, 30 something days, a little over a month. He has done more than Joe Biden did in 4 years. And nobody knows what to do. So all of a sudden you've got the richest man of all time who's walking around with this phony chainsaw. You can't beat this. You've got J.D. Vance, who's an ex-hillbilly, and you're sitting there, and they're giving this guy grief. And the world is thinking, oh, and then Keir Starmer says, oh, God, no. Did you see at 10 Downing when they hugged? You know what he was saying?
I wish Trump had gone as hard as on Starmer as he did Zelensky. That's my only thing I was hoping for.
That's...
Instead of, oh, nice suit, nice accent, jolly good, have a cup of tea.
but that's still, your leader and all this stuff. Zell is just a thug from Nowheresville. But you know what Starmer said? Zell, come here. and he whispered, you stupid son of a bitch. Do you have any idea how you fucked up everything? Oh, you're looking great. You asshole. We're going to go in there. You son of a bitch. What did you do? Isn't he great? I love this guy. Love him. You mother. And he went in and probably said, what did you do? You fell to that? You didn't see what was coming? You schmuck. It's over. EU was that's it. Victoria Nuland, NATO. Oh, my God. Are you kidding? People are now saying, bomb Ukraine, bomb them. People are saying, what? Kyiv my ass, go. And the best one, imagine this at the Kremlin. Excuse me, yes. Mr. President Putin, yes. Could I have a minute of your time? Yes. Could you put on the television? Yes. Which channel? Any channel. Any channel. Just watch this. Is this AI? No, it's real. Is this what I think it is? Yes. He's kicking the shit out of it. No. Yes. And later they have some red phone is in beep. And Trump says, Vlad, yeah, I'll call you back. Not now. Call him back. And he says, beep, beep, beep. Goes, hello, Vlad. You split screen like this. Yeah. Can you believe this shit? I know. Did you set that up? I swear to God. Did you check his nose? Was he grinding his teeth? A lot of swallowing? Was he fitting? Yeah, maybe. Plus, we gave him some of that stuff we had left over from Hunter. We left it in the bathroom. We laced it. We put it where we know he'd find it. We said, by the way, so if you got to go to the John Yell, don't look under there. And he saw it, and it's missing. That's got that super spike in there, that Bolivian flake that just... It was beautiful. And Putin must be saying, I can't believe it. And they're thinking, all of the EU people, they're saying, all this work, the stories, the nonsense, this, Kyiv, the money. All of a sudden you see the defense stocks fall, Raytheon fall. It was the most beautiful thing. I'm thinking to myself, I can't believe what I'm seeing. And meanwhile, Elon is ready to come in and says, can I come in with a chainsaw? We don't need the chainsaw. Not yet. Just watch this. And then when he leaves, they said, everybody, listen, everybody come on in and eat. The food for you. Get the hell out of here, you son of a bitch. Get out. Get out. And they threw his ass out. Threw him. And everybody there ate all the stuff. Everybody here. People, they went out into Pennsylvania Avenue. Come here. Anybody hungry? Yeah. Eat his food. Drink it. We're going to send a picture to him. This could have been you. And then he went back and he says, what are you doing? How did you do this? How do you go to the White House? You're invited in and you get into an argument? Have you ever seen like Lavrov Oh, I mean, how cool they are. You're like, oh my God. And Trump is really, he holds back. Trump doesn't really yell. He just speaks very fast. Nobody really yelled, but numbnuts just doubled down.
Yeah, so in Europe, then what they're really worried about is the $250 billion of Russian assets they've frozen. It's just a shakedown. So they were looking for this not to go the way it's going because they want to recycle that into the bank, into the contracts, rebuilding Ukraine. Round and round it goes. BlackRock, Halliburton, etc.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's over with. That's done. I mean, it's done. If you say, we used to have this expression, did you ever have that Shinola? There's a terrible expression. He doesn't know shit from Shinola. Well, anyway, Shinola was the name of a boot black. It was a shoe polish, a boot black. It was called Shinola. But because of this expression, it became a joke. And now, by the way, it's back. There's Shinola. That's the name Zelensky. Did you pull a Zelensky? Oh, God. You're not going to believe it. I went in. I met the girl's father. I had a couple of drinks. I don't know what happened. I lost my mind. I pulled a Zelensky. I zelled. You did? I zelled. No, I know. It was awful. And his wife is thinking, you stupid son of... Do you know? I'm sure you know this. In New York, during the General Assembly, people from around the world come here with their families. And there's a place, Bergdorf Goodman on Fifth Avenue, this big fancy place, right across from Trump Tower, kind of catty corner. And you will see people show up, women show up, people with, wearing turbans and a burnous or whatever it is. And they'll go in the back, and this one guy pulls out his Halliburton, his little thing, and he has a money counter. And you hear this. This is this noise you hear. All cash. Here you go. That'll be $450. This is the way they live. This is the way they live. Imagine when Zell gets back and he sees his wife and says, well, the genius, have a seat. You came from nothing. You were a nobody. You hooked up with Kolomoisky. You become, get this, the president of, or the head or whatever it is, of Ukraine. And in one...
Just explain to the viewers, Kolomoisky.
Kolomoisky was a fellow. This was a guy, he is a Ukrainian billionaire. He is a fellow who was, he created this movie. There was this, let me see, I've got some, I hope you get my newsletter. I put a great one out there today. But he has this, there was what they call a man of the people or servant of the people. Let me see if I can explain this to you. I've got some good ones here. Hang on.
So Zelensky got into power with the backing of the oligarchs, including...
Yeah, they go like, right, exactly. But he was a, I think he's a Ukrainian and also Israeli. So, but he's a billionaire who created this guy. And there was a movie, I think there was something it's called Servant of the People on this network that he created. And he, just like we had this movie, the show West Wing, and this fellow, Kolomoisky, this billionaire, created Zelensky, got him in. Later on, when Zelensky, interestingly enough, was involved in the actual running of the businesses, so to speak, of the country, he decides to have this anti-oligarch movement against him. It's the most ridiculous thing anybody's ever heard. So they created this fellow. And the reason why I'm telling you is because he played this, basically the president of the country. It'd be like having Martin Sheen become the president. So he was the creature of this. Then he was exiled. So he was just created out of nowhere. Servant of the People, I believe, was the name of it. Later on, as this started, there's this other story of Ukraine. And one of the things which is the most important thing to understand is that, and Jeffrey Sachs did it, I did one of the best renditions of Jeffrey Sachs on my X or Twitter account at Lionel Media. It is one of the most beautiful things anybody has ever seen, explaining how this thing started. And when you tell people this, they get very upset, but I am going to tell you. And it works like this. Russia was goaded. You hear what I'm saying? It was goaded into this whole thing. There is this story about how Putin is this lunatic. Anyway, but here's the story. Zelensky's rise from television, it was a television comedian, to the president of Ukraine is bizarre. He was never a statesman, never a diplomat, never anything. He was just a performer. And there was this fellow named Ihor Kolomoisky, who's a billionaire oligarch who plucked Zelensky from the world of slapstick and nonsense and installed him as Ukraine's leader. Now, here's the thing. Kolomoisky isn't just this kind of a businessman. He's the textbook character of the corrupt power broker. It's almost like James Bond, without the cat. This is a guy whose empire spans banking and energy and media. And he co-founded this private bank, which was nationalized in 2016 after a $5.5 billion vanished out of thin air. That's right. So billions simply disappeared. Sounds familiar? And Kolomoisky was conveniently nowhere to be found. He had already taken refuge in Israel and Switzerland, and he's dodging corruption investigations. But Kolomoisky's real power came from this 1+1 media group. This is the network that took Zelensky and catapulted him. And he created this thing called Servant of the People. To make a long story short, he was created. Do you remember one of the greatest stories ever, Being There, about Chauncey Gardner, Peter Sellers? I think it's one of the greatest movies I've ever. Jerzy Kosinski. Did you ever see Chauncey Gardner? I like to watch, Ben. Chauncey Gardner is a story of a man who was this kind of a I don't want to say retarded, but this gardener that was left, that was hit, and he is befriended by this rich man, and then he meets the president, and he's basically a simpleton. And he says all he knows is about his gardening. And when they ask him a question, he said, "What do you think, Mr. Gardner? What will be the..." And he's meeting with the president of the United States. And he doesn't know anything. He's retarded, with all due respect, because you can say that word now, apparently. And they said, "What do you think about this?" He says, "Well, Ben, in the garden, we plant the seeds, and then we wait for the harvest." And he says, "By God, he's right. You're a genius." And he says nothing. And that's it. Anyway, that's this. Zelensky nobody ever said, "Excuse me, who are you again?" Because Americans, I can't speak for you, are so bloody stupid, believe anything. We believe ClimateGate. We believe anything about COVID and masks and 6-foot distances. So this story came about how he was fighting back for, and how Russia's the bad guy. Russia basically said, listen, 7 days after the initial military operation, 7 days, he was going to meet with Zelensky. And guess who put an end to that? Your guy, Bojo, this genius. One of the biggest cons in the world is how you have this idea of public school and Eton. These are the biggest bunch of jadruls I've ever met in my life. From David, what's-his-face, to Bojo. These people are imbeciles. I think they take the creme de la creme of inbred homozygotes from British aristocracy, and they put them into these schools, and they take whatever synapses are still working, and they destroy them, and they lead them out, and they're just given this name, Eton or Cambridge or Oxford, and they're actually brain dead. Their brains are cored out through some kind of weird experiment, and you believe this. We do the same thing here with Harvard and Yale. We think that means something. These are some of the most stupid people I've ever seen in my life. So anyway.
It's a product of inbreeding, I think, especially with the royals.
Homozygotics. Remember that? The Habsburg jaw. Homozygotic inbreds. And who were the people in the royals? Interestingly enough, Andrew from Portugal and Harry. Sorry about that X, that little something. I don't know what the hell. The other day I was talking about something terrible or something about and the Holocaust. I'm talking about some terrible thing, and I did that, and all of a sudden there's this thumb that comes up like, yeah. So anyway, but let me just go back one step further. I said to you before, what I want is clapping. People love Trump. They are saying, I love this. Sean, we live in a world of trolls. They're saying, this is fantastic. Did you see this? Did you see this? Did you see this? Did you see all the memes where they're playing Uno and cards and Risk? And it is the greatest thing ever. Trump is a genius. Trump isn't being portrayed as a bully. We love a bully. He won. Zelensky went back. It's over. It's over.
You got a question here from Claire Alice. Thank you for the super chat. Great seeing Lionel. By the way, Zelensky looks like a baby ninja. What is Lionel's take on Keir Starmer's press conference saying they are sending more military aid and they're done with talking and they're ready to take action?
You're being led by a psychopath. And if you don't do anything to either storm the Bastille or do something and allowing this, I don't know what I'm not advocating violence, of course, but you're asking me, what do I think? I'm asking you. But then again, I can't speak because I just went 4 years of a man who was brain dead. And I'm not being exact, who was brain dead and didn't know where he was. So we're not that better off than you.
What about when he was called out for free speech when he was with Trump? Yes, we love free speech and long may it continue in England. We love BS.
Well, what about this? They ask him, what about elections? Stopping elections and Christians? What about the fact that you've got actual neo-Nazis who are acolytes of Stepan Bandera and the right sector and the Azov battalion? And Jesus, these are real. You know how I use the word Nazi kind of as an expression for somebody who's overbearing. These are legitimate Nazis. Real Nazi. I mean, they exist. What about that? And they say, well, he's Jewish. I don't know about that. I don't want to go into the provenance. I don't know if your mother was Jewish, but I think that's the way people used to say, well, there's no racism in the United States. Well, because Obama's black. You know what I mean? It's like, well, that as we say in the South, that dog don't hunt. This guy, here is the thing. Let me see if I can go back a little backwards. This fellow named Elon Musk. And I thought Elon, listen, I don't really get impressed. I know he's the richest man. So what? That guy, Jack Ma. Did you ever see Jack Ma from Alibaba? Jack Ma looks like a genetic experiment that went wrong. And he's the richest guy. Okay, so rich people, they may have a lot of money, but it doesn't make them people you want to get to know. So anyway, here's this guy named Elon Musk, 14 kids, a new kid, except for this one who's trying to put the arm on him. And he says, not this time. So anyway, so there's this thing, he said, called Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency or whatever it is. So he comes up with this idea that we're going to go in and we're going to look at every government program. And we're going to get these 16-year-old, 19-year-old nerds. One of them is nicknamed Big Balls. And Big Balls said, hey, guess what I found out? I found out that we've got almost $1 trillion, let's say, in monies that are unaccounted for or what have you. And they said, what? Yeah. And there was this program called USAID, Agency of International Development, whatever it was. It was a slush fund. It was money laundering. It was a grift that nobody knew was there. Well, as we're finding out, John, this may have not only funded wars and military, it may have funded everything up to and including newspapers, websites, NBC, Saturday Night Live, Robert De Niro, people on it. It may have been the taproot of everything. Everything. Have you ever had a Christmas tree or whatever you call them, and you have these lights, and one light goes off, and the whole thing goes out. They're in parallel or series. That's what this is. When they said, let's shut this down, all the lights went off. Holy Jesus, everything was connected to this. This thing was paying for everything. And I mean everything. Tonight we have the Academy Awards, which mean nothing. That was it. That was part of a promotion. People were saying, how is it that these stations are still on? We had something that happened this week. I don't want to get too much. We have this place called MSNBC. We call it MSDNC. And they fired this racist named Joy Reid. And people are saying, why do you think they fired her? Is it because of her ratings? Her ratings were always bad. What happened? There's no more money. They're shutting down. And they didn't realize, a lot of people working, they said, wait a minute, you mean to tell me we never made money? Where is this coming from here? Backstory. In 2016 or 2017, Moby, we talked about the musician Moby, was approached by the CIA to say, can we use your social media account? Social media is where everything changes. By the way, great artist now. Have you heard Lola Young? I'm sure you've heard her. You know, Messi? Phenomenal. Started on Twitter. And there was some help to it. It's a new, everything is completely different. It's a fantastic song. She's Amy Winehouse all over again, but better. Anyway, so now we're finding out that the money from this pool, this thing, and we'll call USAID just as a name. It's a metonym, like you would call Fleet Street or Wall Street. Just names for brass. USAID, the monies are going everywhere. Now they're saying it's done. In the old days, what if I could say, just write your ticket? How much do we want to give Zelensky? Name it. $1 billion? Name it. Just give it to him. Where's this money come from? Just give it to him. Where are his villas? What? Cyprus? The Blob. That's our foreign group. Cyprus, Florida. By the way, Federal Reserve. You hear about our Federal Reserve? Federal Reserve is where we keep all our gold. Elon Musk said, can we do an audit of this? What? An audit to see how much gold we have? What? Yeah, can we see how much gold we have? Gold? They haven't had an audit since 1974. They don't know what's in there. And by the way, not only are we going to withdraw from NATO, we're going to withdraw from the World Health Organization. Oh, and guess what else goes bye-bye? The World Economic Forum, Bilderberg, G7. Go ahead and meet. Who do you think's paying for the money? Who was paying for this? Where does Klaus Schwab get his money from? Where? Who's paying him? His tailor? No. What about Greta Thunberg? How dare you? I could be in school, and I am now mid school. How dare you? You took my dreams. Got them. Who was paying her? Who is paying the UN? Who is paying? Where was this money coming from? Daddy Warbucks over here. It's gone. Wait till you see how many.
Susan wants to know, Ari wants to know, do you think Susan Rice encouraged Zelensky to piss Trump Vance off with disrespecting via eye rolls, rudeness, whatever? Because she met him, Zelensky, before meeting up with Trump.
Well, first of all, let's see if Susan Rice said, now listen, Zell, take it from me. What I want you to do is in the White House, in the Oval Office, not at some neutral location, but in his home where everybody's watching, I want you to piss him off. What? I want you to piss him off. Trump? He's crazy. Yeah, I know. It'll be great. Piss him off, and you'll be. Wait a minute. You want me to be? Yeah, do a couple of blows. Use this stuff here. I got some special for you. I got some special. Grind it real fine. Going like that. You'll be ready to go with that. Oh yeah, you'll be. There won't be you'll love this stuff, and it kicks in like not right away. It's just a little bit later. And you'll know it when you start getting the sweats. I read about this from what I hear. So anyway, but we have a thing called the Logan Act. This is a law. Now listen to me. Remember I told you this. The Logan Act. And the Logan Act is from 1799, which says private citizens cannot interfere and negotiate with foreign countries. We had 2 prosecutions, 19th century, whatever. Guess who's going to be brought up now? Susan Rice, Anthony Blinken, because you don't understand something. Trump is so pissed off. If he were here, he doesn't drink. But if he had a couple of, pints under his belt, he'd say, they impeached me twice, but couldn't convict me. They were going to bring me up, or they did, on the emoluments clause of the Constitution. Sean, I'm the only person who knows what the emoluments clause is. Nobody knows what it is. It's never been done. So he's going to say, hey, anybody got anything that we can bring up against these bastards? Yes, Mr. President. What is it? The Logan Act. I'm in. Don't you want to know what it is? Nope. Bring it in. Indict them. So Susan Rice is telling him, and Blinken, you go in and you fight. You tell them. It's like, do you ever have sometimes a wife will tell a husband, and you tell that boss of yours, you've been there for 20 years and you deserve a raise. And you tell that son of a bitch, and he gets all worked up. He goes in and they fire him. Thanks, honey. Because it's many times a woman will get the man in trouble. But that's another story. So what we're seeing is this, they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. And Trump says, I've been only doing this for a month. You haven't even seen anything yet. And Elon is so, thank God he's on our side. They're saying, Elon, they're making fun of you. Oh, yeah? Elon went in and basically shut down USAID. This is since 1962. This was a slush fund. It was always, when businesses have petty cash. Hey, I want to get pizza for the group. Go into my desk. Petty cash. That's their petty cash. Nobody audited it. Nobody knew. Everybody was in on the grift. Everybody. Until Trump comes along. It's the most incredible thing in the world. And also, there were people who love him. Can you imagine somebody who honestly says, I don't like what President Trump did. He was rude. Rudeness? Look around you. Go outside. Look up and down here. The whole world is rude. We love rude. We love balls. We love huge elephantine balls that you need a wheelbarrow. And this guy is like, and wait till the next guy who meets him. Imagine the next country, the next person who comes in after Zelensky. Imagine that. They're going to be like, yes, so, Mr. Trump. You want to talk to me about anything? No. Just have a nice day. I got JD here. No, don't bring in JD. No. I can call JD. No, leave him alone. By the way, JD, and guess what? JD with his family skiing, they had to have some kind of a security thing. You just pissed off the hillbilly? This was when he was calm. You interrupted his family vacation. He says, I'm going to take this out. I'm going to open up a can of whoop ass on somebody, and whoever, I may not hit the right person, but it's going to say to whom it may concern, I'm going to get somebody. By the way, one more thing about Trump. If you met Trump, he'd say, come here, I'm going to show you something, John. See this thing right here? You feel this on my ear? Yeah, this is where they tried to kill me. This is where a bullet hit my ear. I'm still hearing stuff. I don't know if it's true or not, but you don't walk away from that. You know that fight picture that you love? I hate that. There is
Lionel,
a burn.
Lionel, there's 2 moments in the the press conference that we got to discuss. Sophie's raised one of them, and this is where I thought Zelensky's just out of his mind saying this now. Where Zelensky was saying, "You have your ocean, but you're gonna feel this."
Oh, yeah.
What?
Feel
What was
what?
that about? Where did that come from?
You're going to feel it on your shore. You got ocean. What? You have ocean. You're going to feel it. What? You're going to feel it. Feel what? It. What is it? On the Atlantic or the Pacific? What? The Ukrainian Navy is gonna. What's gonna happen? What are we gonna feel? What are we gonna feel? I wish you say, no, wait. Zell, here's a microphone. What am I gonna feel? Let me make sure you tell me what I'm gonna feel and what countries are gonna be involved. You want to name names? Go ahead. Listen to folks. Remember, go ahead. This. He's talking nonsense. He was fried out of his mind. You're going to feel it. Feel what? What are you? And he's on the ocean. Oh, he didn't understand about. He didn't understand about. You don't have the card. He goes, who's playing cards? I don't play cards. What? I think he didn't understand it, but he was like getting into the cards motif a little bit too much. No, that was beautiful. What does that mean?
The most beautiful moment of the whole thing, though, was when Trump said, Russia, Russia, Russia.
Yeah.
And then the laptop from hell was crazy by Russia. Russiagate came straight out Hunter Biden's bathroom, Hunter Biden's bedroom, Hillary Clinton. And he just went off. I thought that was brilliant.
And Zelensky, who has maybe an understanding of 10% of what that was about, says, excuse me, I'm tooted out of my mind here. I've got a booger in this nostril that could choke a gerbil. I'm about to, do you have something to blow my nose in? I'm afraid it was, do you have the picture of the, is it the Ukrainian woman who's going like this or something? Did you see this? She's like, oh my God. Oh my. All of a sudden, this is what I want to hear too. This is where Elon comes in. Imagine this scenario. Zelensky, hey Zell, yeah. Listen, where was that money? That account we had? The Cayman Island. Yeah. Wasn't it the bank of yes. Well, I called him this morning.